In October of 1944, deep in the forest of eastern France, a group of American soldiers found themselves completely cut off, surrounded by thousands of German troops, and with no hope of escape. They would become known as the Lost Battalion. Their ordeal, and the desperate rescue mission that followed, would become one of the most heroic and heartbreaking stories of World War II. The Lost Battalion belonged to the 1st Battalion of the 141st Infantry Regiment, part of the U.S. Army's 36th Infantry Division. Their objective was to push through the Vosges Mountains, a dense, foggy, heavily fortified region that the Germans believed could never be penetrated. The terrain was steep, muddy, and thick with towering pines. Visibility was low, supply lines were stretched thin, and German forces held the high ground. On October 24th, the battalion advanced deeper into the forest. They didn't know that German forces had quietly moved into position behind them, encircling their route back. By the time the battalion realized what was happening, it was too late. They were surrounded on all sides. Radio communication was failing. The Germans cut off every road, trail, and path. 275 American soldiers were trapped. The Germans demanded that they surrender. The Lost Battalion refused. As hours turned into days, conditions grew desperate. Rain soaked the forest floor, turning foxholes into pools of mud. Ammunition was running low. Food supplies were almost gone. The wounded lay on soaked ground, untreated except for what their fellow soldiers could provide. The 36th Division attempted several rescue attempts, but each failed. German machine guns and artillery hammered every approach. Soldiers trying to break through the encirclement were pushed back with heavy casualties. The situation was becoming hopeless until reinforcements arrived, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. The 442nd was a segregated unit made up almost entirely of Japanese-American soldiers. Many have families imprisoned in U.S. internment camps at that very moment, yet they volunteered to fight for a country that didn't fully trust them. By 1944, the 442nd had already earned a reputation for bravery, toughness, and an unwillingness to give up. When they were told that the Lost Battalion was trapped, the 442nd prepared to do the impossible. From the moment they entered the forest, they were met with fierce resistance. The Germans held every ridge and choke point. Fog settled over the trees, making visibility almost impossible. Mortar shells crashed through the canopy. Machine gun fire echoed between the hills. The 442nd advanced anyway. They moved tree to tree, hill to hill, fighting through terrain that was perfect for ambushes. Many of the soldiers later recalled that they could barely see more than a few feet ahead. German snipers hid in the branches. Mines littered the forest floor. Each step forward cost lives. One of the toughest battles occurred on a ridge later known as Suicide Hill. The Germans held the high ground with fortified positions. The 442nd was ordered to take it. When artillery failed to dislodge the defenders, the 442nd fixed bayonets and charged uphill through thick brush and machine gun fire. It was one of the most brutal engagements of their campaign. Slowly, painfully, the 442nd pushed the Germans back. After days of non-stop fighting, exhaustion, and mounting casualties, the 442nd finally broke through the German lines near the Lost Battalion's position. On October 30th, American soldiers emerged from the fog. The Lost Battalion, low on food, water, ammunition, and hope, saw friendly uniforms approaching. Many were too weak to stand. Others could barely speak, but they were alive. Of the 275 men who had been trapped, 211 survived. The price of their rescue was enormous. The 442nd suffered over 800 casualties during the operation. It was one of the highest cost rescues in American military history, and one of the most heroic. For their actions, the 442nd became the most decorated unit for its size and length of service in U.S. Army history. The Lost Battalion rescue remains one of their greatest achievements. Decades later, when survivors from both units met, many described the moment with emotion that never faded. The Lost Battalion always said that the 442nd had saved them when no one else could. And the 442nd always said they were simply doing their duty. The story of the Lost Battalion is a reminder of courage under impossible circumstances. The men trapped in the Vosges refused to surrender, even when surrounded. And the men sent to rescue them risked everything to bring them home. In the chaos of World War II, not every victory was measured by territory gained. Some were measured in lives saved, and in the determination of soldiers who refused to leave their comrades behind.